G'day and welcome to A Down Under Yarn. Today is Monday the 14th of April 2014. This is episode number 66, clickety clicks, of A Down Under Yarn. I am your host Fiona, also known as Fifikins, and I'm also the dyer behind Solar Flair Fibres. It has been a week and a half since I chatted with you, and has it been a week and a half? Last Tuesday, a storm went through the Solomon Islands and caused some major flooding and killed over 20 people. And I read about it in the news and thought, wow, that's awful. And then a few little things kept popping up on Facebook with early predictions that a cyclone was forming. And I thought, wow, and I did some reading, and lo and behold, Wednesday I think it was, we went on to cyclone warning. We missed the cyclone watch altogether. Cyclone warning is when you're expecting high winds within 24 hours. Then next thing we were off, it was north of us. They were expecting it to come in. Meanwhile, all the time I follow the Bureau of Meteorology site. They had the prediction was that it was going to cross about 200 or 300 kilometres north of us at a place called Cooktown and then track inland. And of course, when a cyclone comes overland, it loses a lot of its power. And they said if it did come down as far as us, it'd be a tropical low by then and we'd have nothing to worry about. Joint Typhoon Warning Centre, which is the US Navy site, is a site that I look at. They all along had it not necessarily hitting the coast, but actually going all the way down the coast as a Category 4 or Category 5 cyclone. That is winds of over 200 kilometres an hour. That had me a little worried. So Wednesday night, Thursday morning, I think we went back onto cyclone warning. And the Bureau of Meteorology, which had it going inland, slowly had it coming back towards us, coming back down towards hitting us. Friday morning, they said it's probably going to hit Cooktown Friday evening, and it's up to a Category 5 cyclone. So we were really dreading it for the people up at Cooktown. Apparently they hadn't had a cyclone hit them for 49 years or something. This is exceptionally late in the season. The cyclone season traditionally ends on the 30th of April, but having a cyclone in April is pretty rare. This is it's the fifth Category 4 or 5 cyclone to hit the Queensland coast in the last 6 years. 6 or 7 years, I think it is. Might even be a bit longer. So, I mean, for those people who deny that there is climate change, that's a lot of cyclones. It's a lot more than normal that has been hitting us along the Queensland coast. So we battened down. The kids flew down to visit their dad. They eventually got to go last Tuesday. Things were organised. This was before we kind of knew there was anything on the way. And Milne was fantastic. He didn't have to go to work on Friday. He was allowed to do cyclone prep. A lot of the workplaces up here, especially government workplaces, have a clause in their contracts that say if there is a cyclone warning, if the staff are not urgently needed, they can go, and they'd close down, they'd cancel all the clinics at the hospital, cancelled all elective surgery, and all that sort of stuff. So he was not required at work, so he was able to come and help. I, of course, went downstairs. So Thursday night, I'd had some dyes out, and I'd been dyeing, and I'd also put a load of washing in the washing machine. Now, I'm not sure if I left one of my glass jars on top of the washing machine and the washing machine blew it off, or else I had on the ledge near the window above the sink. One or the other. I took a load of washing down to do a load of washing and didn't realise there was broken glass everywhere and trodden it, and put this big gash up the side of the ball of my foot. And of course, I didn't actually notice that I'd done that. Excuse me, friend's got a job interview on Wednesday and she's pretty excited. Didn't actually notice that I'd done it until I thought, oh, what's moist? And looked down and there was blood everywhere. So I'm thinking, okay. So Mima wasn't here by this stage. So I came upstairs and couldn't find, because I'd been cleaning up here on the deck, couldn't find a couple of towels and knew that I had out here, plus they would have been dirty anyway, so it wouldn't have been a good idea. Hobbled into the kitchen, leaving a trail of blood behind me, with the dog coming behind me licking it up, which was just gross, and put pressure on it. then realised my phone was still plugged in the bedroom, so I wanted to keep it plugged in as long as possible to keep charge. So finally got Crawford, Mimmel, and said, hey, I've cut my foot and it won't stop bleeding. And he goes, okay, do you think you need stitches? And I said, I don't think so. He says, how long's it been bleeding? And I said, well, about 5 or 10 minutes. He says, now, you've still got pressure on. I said, yeah. And he goes, okay, take the pressure off and see what happens. I said, there's blood everywhere. And he goes, okay, put the pressure on. He says, I'm coming over. So he came over and he looked at it and he goes, yeah, it's all through the skin. If it was me, I'd be putting stitches in there. And I said, right. He goes, come on, we'll go to the hospital. So we get to the hospital. And because I don't like VIP treatment when I go there. And he got me there. And she looked at it and she goes, the nurse, who was a triage nurse, says, I don't know if that's going to need stitches or not. And she goes, how about I just steri strip it? And he says, it's not really a good place to steri strip it. At least need some super glue. And she goes, well, I could triage you, but there's a 3-hour wait. And I said, no, look, that's fine. And so she went and got some super glue and tried to super glue it, but didn't quite work, but still. So I had this big gash in my foot. So we came back here, did a bit more cleaning up on Friday, and the storm was hitting Cooktown, and we got, it's a bit breezy, but I could still hear the birds. And a friend of mine, who is an environmental researcher up here, said to me when we first moved up here, if you can still hear birds, you don't need to worry, because the birds know when the cyclone's coming and they go for cover. They find cover. And I thought, okay. So Friday, spent more time cleaning up, clearing off the deck. Didn't know what was going to be happening, and looked at it, and it said it was going to come inland, probably be a tropical low by the time it got to us, according to Bureau of Meteorology. Joint Typhoon Warning System still had it coming straight down the coast. Friday morning, that's right. Friday morning, Bureau of Meteorology had changed and said it was coming down the coast as well. And that's when I started going, ugh. So a couple more trips to the supermarket, picked up a few more essentials. I got in cooking mode because that helps relax me. Made a beautiful paella for dinner and thought I can eat that as cold as leftovers for a day or so if we lose power. That's what my main fear was, losing power. Because the 2 cyclones we've been through before, we've lost power. The first one, Larry, which would have been early 2007, I think, or 2006. 2006. We lost power for almost 24 hours. And then when Yazi came through a few years ago, we lost power for 48 hours. And they've cut back on the workforce with the electricity workers, so they don't have as many trying to get power back. So we didn't know what was happening, what was going to happen. So bunkered down for the night. Woke up Saturday morning and Mimmel says, doesn't look like there's much coming. I looked at it, I said, no, it looks like it's on the way. It's passed through Cooktown. From what I could read online, I chose not to listen to the radio. I chose to turn the radio off, so I wasn't listening, not have the television on, and try and get my news a little bit from Twitter and a little bit from just Google News. I tried to steer away from our local paper as well. And it said that one of the pubs had lost its roof, that a few houses had lost their roofs, one house had been destroyed, but people seem to have got through unscathed. At Hopevale, which is an Indigenous community outside of Cooktown, apparently their cyclone shelter had a pipe that came down in the middle of it, narrowly missing someone, and they were without communications and without power, so not many people knew what was happening in there. So that was a bit of a worry. Kept tracking it throughout the day on Saturday, and then the worst thing was, of course, come Friday morning, they have the standard emergency warning signal, which they have to play on the radio and on the TV news before every cyclone update, which is every hour on the hour. And the siren just has that fear in me, that it just creates that anxiety. It's one of the reasons I turned things off and chose to read the things myself, read the warnings myself. So we were hanging around here on Saturday. We had cooked some lunch, had some coffee. I'd been doing a bit of knitting. We had a bit of a Buffy marathon happening, and the wind started picking up. And I looked and I said, and Mill kept saying, oh, I think it's going to be a non-event. It's going to be a non-event. When it showed that it had hit as a Category 4 and it was still a Category 1 heading down the coast towards us, and a Category 1 doesn't have as much wind. It's probably up to 100 kilometres an hour. I thought, yeah. So we came out here and flipped the table here over, took everything inside basically except for a few things, and thought, okay, and continued watching Buffy. And we're expecting the power to go off. And I got a message on Facebook from a couple of friends that they'd lost power. One friend up in Kuranda had lost power the night before and still didn't have it back. And I thought, okay, and still waiting to lose power. The wind wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The 2 cyclones I've been through before, I've heard lots of banging outside, I've heard cracking of trees. There was none of that this time. And we came out here probably about 7 o'clock, and I don't know if it was the eye passing over, but it was just really quiet. So it possibly was the eye passing over us. And, with a torch, we had the lights on out here because we still hadn't lost power. And couldn't really see very much at all. So came out again about 10 o'clock when it said that it was now up to, I think, 30 kilometres southwest of us. And I thought, this is a 20 kilometre thing, but it's not the destructive winds that we were expecting. I had one little branch down from the big tree that I've got next to me here next to the deck, but it didn't take down my guttering, which I need my guttering replaced. And I joke about that every cyclone season, but I think if I did lose my guttering, I'd be really upset. And just some leaf litter and twigs around the backyard. So we were exceptionally lucky. I say we dodged a bullet. When people have been joking about it, the whole we will rebuild, we had the technology. But I still look, this is a storm that did kill over 20 people in the Solomons. There are people in Cooktown, they still don't have power. Hopevale, they've taken up mobile, they've chopped in a mobile satellite thingy-dooby so that they've got mobile coverage. Even though they don't really have any power, there's a few generators up there, and they've also been able to get generators in. A lot of the roads are flooded up and down, the highway's cut, so we're cut off from Brisbane, which means they can't get supplies through. We should be fine for a few days. I don't know how long it's going to go on because we did have a lot of rain. I think we had over 6 inches of rain on Saturday alone here. Yesterday, the road was cut north of us. That usually happens once or twice a year, usually midweek, and people can't get to work and there's a huge outcry, but happening on a Sunday didn't really matter. Today the sun's actually out. It's so hard to believe that it went through. And it was pretty atypical. Cyclone Ita was pretty atypical, I suppose. But still, it was very anxiety provoking. It did mean I was able to clear off the deck, which I've been meaning to do for ages. I was able to clear up downstairs, get things away, get a lot of rubbish out, that sort of stuff. We didn't have enough branches come down throughout Cairns. We're not getting a green rubbish pickup, which is quite disappointing. It's one of the things we look forward to after a cyclone is the council will come around and do green rubbish pickups, but they're doing free dumping at the tip. So we might borrow a friend's trailer this weekend and chop down a few of the palm trees that we hate and take them in. So that's really that's that news. It was really really worrying. It meant I didn't have an update on Friday. I will probably have an update later this week, but I want to wait until the roads are open because I don't want to have an update then not be able to post anything. I don't like posting things when the roads are closed. I haven't been into the post office today to get my mail, so when I go in there, I'm going to check with them how long they think the highway's going to be closed, because they should have some idea. I looked at the website before and it was hard to tell because the highway's got different names in different parts. It's still the Bruce Highway or Highway number 1, but it has different names going in and out of towns, for instance. So I know in Ingham it's flooded, and I'm pretty sure that's the highway bit, so you can't actually get through, but sometimes the trucks can get through. If you post things express, which usually means it comes out by air, if the roads are flooded, they don't send express either, for some reason. So, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know today that anything had really been through. Friends of ours had a tree through their fence. Other friends had a tree that came over and dented his truck, his ute, but they're so glad that the ute was parked there because otherwise it would have gone straight through the bedroom window. So it's little things like that. There were some places that, trees were uprooted, they got gusts. We were just fortunate here that we didn't this time round. And fortunately, cyclone season is almost over. The humidity, though, the last couple of days has been really, really bad. But still, so that is that. Apart from that, it's been very, very nice not having the kids around, in that Mimel and I have been able to spend some time together. Today actually marks 6 years since we went on our first date. And I know that because today also marks 24 years since my dad died. He died when I was 17 in a scuba diving accident at Easter that year. So that was the year I was doing my final year of high school. So and 6 years ago I thought I will take a chance and go on a date with this person, even though all the other dates I'd been on had been with less than desirable people, I suppose. But hey, so there you go. And we're going to spend the evening together tonight just watching Game of Thrones, and I'll probably cook something nice. I'll head over to his place and do something over there. He was actually voluntarily evacuated because they didn't know what the storm surge was going to do. Of course, with the cyclone hitting around high tide, they were worried about storm surges, and he lives in a red zone, which means it's high risk of getting inundated with water. So he came here, and then they let him go home yesterday. Or probably could have gone home Saturday night, but he stayed anyway. So we saw, before the kids went down, Jasper and I went and saw the Lego movie, which was finally released here, and absolutely loved it. And then Mimel and I went and saw Captain America, Winter Soldier last week, and loved it. So we've been following S.H.I.E.L.D. as well, and we caught the S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes in order, so it's all been like, whoa, sort of a head explosion with what's been happening. I think I can now get on to the knitting, and I've actually got quite a bit to show you. Just remembered I've left my acquisitions inside, so I will go in and get them soon. First of all, I have a finished object. I know. I finished my Greek fire shawl. This was the knit-along I did with Josh Ricks, who is sort of a knitter of the Geoknitrix Designs, the Geoknitrix Designs podcast. Was he sort of a knitter podcast? Sort of a knitter podcast, Geoknitrix Designs, SWORD of a knitter. The pattern calls for fingering weight yarn. I used my Wala base, which is worsted weight, because I wanted a big shawl, and I got a big shawl. So this is it blocked. The three colours are the Eyes Have It, which is the blue, Wattle, which is the yellow, and Burning Orange, which is the orangey colour. And it's fantastic. I love it. It's going to be perfect for the plane heading over, because it does drape around my shoulders beautifully. It crosses over at the front. So really, really lovely size. I still haven't trimmed. I wove in all my ends but didn't trim them all finally, so now that I've blocked it I can trim them. And used just under or just over 1,000 yards of yarn. So I have a bit left over from that. So that is that. Typical Josh shawl, there are lots of ends to weave in, but it's so worth it in the end. I really love the border, even though I'm cursed at the time, and I spent hours doing a couple of rows of it, just because I do half a row and then put it down and do something else, and often look at the internet and see what the Cyclone was doing, and then that sort of stuff. But then I went to a political debate on Tuesday evening and took it along and got it finished. I got it half bound off, I think, there, and people oh, what are you doing, what are you doing, what are you doing? So that was quite funny. Anyway, so that is that. The other thing I can show you now is the sock I was test knitting. Now, this is another Josh pattern. This is the Mystic Spiral socks. Mystic with a K. Ta-da! These are just absolutely amazing. This is the first sock I knitted in. Look, technically I cast it on the Friday afternoon and finished it on the Sunday, but could easily have had it done in 24 hours because it's just potato chip knitting. It is just fantastic. It uses Megan, who has just run it, of the Stockinette Zombies, her OMG heel, one needle mock gusset heel. I know Megan is bringing out a deeper version, which I think is what I'm going to need for my foot, because these, whilst they go over, they're pretty tight. So whilst I adore these, I'm not sure who they're going to go to. So it's going to be my second pair of socks that are not really going to be for me, which is such a shame because I just adore the yarn. The yarn is from 716 Knits. It's a 716 glitz base. You can see the sparkle in there, which apparently is broken up soft drink cans. It is the most amazing blend. I know it's got silk in there. It's got merino nylon silk and the silvery bits. And it is the colourway is the Dance of Capitalist Superiority, which I just adore. So I'm looking forward to casting on the second sock sometime soon, definitely by the end of the month, because this will be my 4th entry in the self-striping knit along for the Stockinette Zombies. So that is that hoe. I still have, I brought out the rest of the ball of wool, so I've got plenty of yarn left. And of course this is my Girl Cave bag, little sock bag with an elephant print, because I just adore elephants. So that is that. The other thing I have been working on, I've been working on a test knit for my friend Heather, who is Bunnyfish. Really, really lovely. And I'm about halfway through that. Looking forward to having that finished. Not sure I'm going to get to show it because it's going off as part of a swap package. And I'm not sure when the pattern's being released, but I'll make sure I've got photos for you for next week. The other thing I have here to show you was probably my Cyclone knitting. I wanted to knit on the cowl, but it has some complex bits in it. So I thought, no, I knit a little bit on my cardigan, which I was going to bring out, but I haven't. That can wait. Apart from that, I knit on my sock yarn blanket. It was slow going because of, I suppose, the anxiety to do with the Cyclone. I'm not sure where I showed you up to last time, but I'm pretty sure it was about here. So this is what I've done. I know I did those 4 squares on Saturday during the Cyclone. And I'm looking forward to doing a pink one next because it's getting quite dark down this end. I've got, how many so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 across at the moment. I'm wanting to get to probably about 30. No, I'm not sure how long I want to get across. But at the moment I'm going to get to 15 across, I think. And then at the Knitpocalypse, which I'm going to in June, I'm going to start again. So with some samples over there, so I don't have to lug it around, so I can then join it. That is going to be my plan anyway. I want to keep growing it up, but I want to move it along first so that I know that I can just do it in rows. So that is that. I've got quite a few scraps, but if anyone does have any scraps they don't know what to do with, I'm sure I can find a use for them. And it's good because I've been using scraps from projects that I've finished ages ago and thinking, oh, I remember that. And some of them are from yarns that I've dyed and I go, ooh, that doesn't look too bad knit up like that. So yeah, so that's been quite good. A lot of it has been randomly now, lucky dipped, and I'm just pulling something out and going, okay, which is why I've ended up with this sort of dark bit here. That is a Desert Vista Dye Works self-striping, the Ladybug colourway. But I really want something a bit lighter, so I've got a couple more that I'm going to intentionally now put a lighter stripe in. Ninja wants to say hello too. She said she got very, very scared during the Cyclone. Didn't you? Yes, but you loved being inside all the time, didn't you? You thought that was awesome. Okay, now the other one, I haven't done that there, have I? I know where it'll be. The other pattern is another one I've been doing a test knit for Josh, and it's called the Colour Spike Shawl. Again, a really, really, really lovely shawl, although I haven't finished it, but I'm looking forward to finishing it. So I'm using the Solar Flair Fibres Yee base, which is 75% merino, 25% nylon. It's Australian wool. It is fantastic. I have limited quantities of this, and I keep going onto them and saying, please, please, please get some more in. It was a one-off last year and they didn't know how it was going to sell. I think it all sold out within 10 days. So it is a popular thing, and if they can do it again, I really would like it. That is Bougainvillea, that is Rock Face, and the green, did I put on my project page which green it is? I've got a feeling it's Bud, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, Bud Green. So that is Bud Green. So the 3 colours together. And I can now show you the part of the shawl that I have done. Let me get you back here. Probably not very much. But there you go, there it is. So again, a fantastic Josh knit. It has a beautiful selvage here with some cabling there. And you can see there the way the colours work together. The green just pops, and apparently I won't be using much of the green, but I can show you there the slip stitch sections. Just trying to get them up there. There we go. Looks really, really pretty, really lovely. So again, I would love to finish this sometime very soon. I had a bit of a snafu in one of the clues and put it in timeout, and Josh knows all about it, and he's probably not fine with it because I'm a pretty poor test knitter, but other people have test knitted, and yeah, so I've got no hassles with the pattern that is out at the moment, and really recommend you get it because again, it is such a beautiful pattern. Yes, there are lots of ends to weave in, but it's so worth it because the way Josh gets colours to pull and play together is just amazing. I think that's all the works in progress I have out here that I can show you. I have been working a bit on my low tide cardigan, which is what I cast on New Year's Day. I measured last night. I have done 9 inches of stockinette and I have to get to 14. So was it 8? No, 9 inches, so 5 inches to go. And it's just because it's boring stockinette. I think that's really what it is. Plus I have these other things to get done. I am doing the cowl. I am wanting to knit a shawl before the end of the month for the knit along. Oh, I didn't mention that. I didn't really do any administrati. But there is the knit along for the knit a hug knit along. And I don't actually think I've got any entries yet. We've got a couple of people who have been talking in the chat in the Down Under Yarn thread, but there haven't actually been any hoobies. There haven't been any finished objects. So this year, remember again, there is the chance to have a hug, which is something to give to someone for whom Mother's Day is challenging, or also I'm opening it up to preemie hats and baby hats if you would like to knit those as well. And we have a prize, which is some yarn from Atelier Yarn. Might as well go into Administratia now because seeing I forgot about it. I meant to last episode, and I totally forgot, draw for the finished object thread for Solar Flair Fibres for the first quarter. So the finished objects January to March, and that was people who knit something using Solar Flair Fibres. Some beautiful things. There's a stunning colour affection, someone's beautiful colour craving, gorgeous shawls, some fantastic socks, quite a few pairs of socks, another shawl, another scarf, more socks, another shawl, more socks, some gorgeous little leg warmers which are very cute, socks, Zuzu's petals, some mitts, a hat, another hat, some more mitts, and a hitchhiker. So let me bring up random number on here. So we're going from number 2 to number 20. Now it does have on here, you'll see, it does have number 23, but that's from the last time I used this. So if I click generate, that is number 18. Let's see if you can get there before me. Number 18 is Rose Prickles, who is Briar, and she used the Anya base in the Regal and knit a beautiful hat. Now it's the Royal Iris Slatch hat, but she's actually put a peak on it. So congratulations, Briar. Contact me and you get any skein of yarn that you like. So any base, any skein, just be in touch. There is a thread open for April, May and June, second quarter drawing. I was going to record before, but the time was lawn mowing, and I thought, no, I'll hold it off. And now the guy across the road is whippersnippering. So I do apologise for the noise. As you'll notice, Ninja isn't barking. We invested in a bark collar, and really she knitted it on for an hour. And after that, she knows now that she barks in absolute emergencies, and apart from that, she smooches, which is lovely for us. because her barking was getting a little bit out of control, and I tried all sorts of things and spoke to 3 different people in at the pet shop. It's actually the leaf blower he's using. So he's finished mowing and he's using the leaf blower. Sorry. Spoke to 3 different people in there and spoke to a vet friend and said, look, a bark collar's not a bad idea because it does treat them, very Pavlov's dog type thing. Yes, trains your behaviour, doesn't it? So I've now got to work out how to stop her digging because she's taken to digging. Yay, go dog. So I don't have any other shop news at the moment. I do have quite a bit to go in an update this week, but as I said, I'll wait for the highway to open. I will do a mini episode, I suppose, later this week and show you those colourways. At the moment, it will probably be, it will probably be on Thursday or Friday. I mean, Friday's Good Friday. Australia closes down Friday to Monday. We have public holidays on Friday, Saturday and Monday, which means the post office is closed. And they are not open on Sundays anyway. I would be going in on Tuesday to post. So I might leave it at Friday and then get things packaged up over the weekend. At the moment, depending on what happens with the roads. With the weather being, we haven't had any rain now for 24 hours. So it means that, yes, there'll be creeks from the hills behind us that will be coming down into flood. They're in flood at the moment, and whether or not they come down, what happens with the highway when the highway reopens. So I'll keep an eye on that. If it doesn't look like the highway's reopened by the weekend, I won't do an update because I don't want packages to get stopped by Australia Post and stuck there. So, apart from that, I think that's about it. I keep thinking there was something else, and I can't remember what it was. But hey, I might also later this week have some of my shawl to show you that I'm knitting as part of the Knitter Hug. So please get your hugs in. Don't forget about knitting hugs. And until next time, I'll say, first of all, I do need to, I need to say thank you to everyone. 2 things. Firstly, the kits that I put up in the shop last week have been really, really well received. I'm really, really pleased with that. It's for a mystery knit-along that we are doing a post-knit-pocalypse knit-along. Josh has designed the most amazing shawl pattern, and I got another glimpse of it again today, and I'm still going, oh, it's just amazing. I'm going to be test knitting that, so I can't wait to do that. And if you are coming to the Zombie Knitpocalypse, you can pick up a kit at the Knitpocalypse, and it will be starting around that weekend in June, 22nd, 23rd of June. The shawl has another name, and it's just gone from me. But it's awesome. It's just fantastic. It's just really, really amazing. So, I encourage you to, I don't know when Josh is going to actually release the pattern. If you buy a kit, you get a copy of the pattern as well. If you choose a colour kit in the shop, it doesn't mean that you have to knit along with this shawl. You can use it for anything else. You can just use 3 different skeins of yarn if you'd like. Of course, they're sort of going to be semi-solid tonal type colourways. There's been quite a few questions around about that, and hopefully I've been able to answer them round about. If you do have any other questions, let me know. The other thing, of course, is to say thank you for everyone for their best wishes for over the weekend when we did have the cyclone bearing down on us. It's pretty scary to go through. I was explaining to someone, I've got a friend who's actually writing a PhD on how communities deal with cyclones, which is a really interesting topic. And considering she's now over in Europe lecturing and writing her PhD through a university in London, we were communicating through Facebook over the weekend. And I said it's almost like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, because you know, you get told that the winds are coming, it's going to be destructive, tie everything down, clear away anything that can be used as a missile in the backyard, you know, get rid of any dead wood that's lying around, put everything under cover, make sure your fences are bolted shut, you know, all that sort of stuff. And then we got a bit of a puff of wind and that was it. And it's almost like, I just hope next time, yes, it's going to be concerning, but I hope people do take heed of warnings as well. hopefully we won't have any more until later this year. I think cyclone season officially starts in November. If we get a November cyclone as well, I think we'll just be tearing our hair out. It depends how warm the sea is. The sea has to have a certain temperature so the cyclone can build up. But thank you all for the messages. I got people who sent me RAV messages, who sent messages on Plurk, on Twitter, sent me private emails, and it really was appreciated to know that there were people everywhere concerned about how we were faring. So we did dodge a bullet. We got out of it really, really lightly. I'm exceptionally grateful for that. And yeah. So until next time, I will also say thank you again and uru, cheers, bye.